A moment of fear can become a moment of faith. What if the storm you're facing right now is actually the path Jesus is using to reach you? What if the miracle you're waiting for is already walking toward you, even when you can't see it? In Mark 6:45-52, we encounter one of the most astonishing miracles Jesus ever performed, walking on water. But this story is not simply about Jesus defying the laws of nature. It is about his presence in our storms, his sovereignty over our struggles, and his desire to take us beyond fear into deeper faith. Right after the feeding of the 5,000, a moment of incredible supernatural power, Jesus immediately sends his disciples into a boat and tells them to go ahead of him to the other side of the sea, toward Bethsaida. While they sail away, Jesus goes up onto a mountainside to pray alone. This detail matters. Sometimes Jesus sends us into situations that will stretch our faith. Sometimes he withdraws, not to leave us, but to prepare us. The disciples are rowing under the clear sky at first. Everything seems normal. But the Sea of Galilee is known for sudden storms, and soon strong winds rise. Waves begin slamming into the boat. The water becomes wild and unpredictable. What was once manageable becomes overwhelming. They struggle through the night, exhausting every bit of strength they have. They row and row, but the wind is against them. They are stuck. Progress feels impossible, and Jesus is not with them, physically. The one they rely on, the one they just witnessed perform miracles, isn't in the boat. This is where fear begins to take control. Have you ever felt like that? Rowing through life with everything coming against you, trying to hold it together while the storm grows stronger, wondering where Jesus is when you need him most? But here is the truth the disciples couldn't see. Even when Jesus seems distant, he is watching. Even when you feel alone, he sees every wave. Even when you struggle, he knows every stroke. The Bible tells us Jesus saw them straining at the oars. Their storm was not invisible to him. Then, at about 3 a.m, the darkest hour of the night, Jesus does the unimaginable. He walks on the water toward them, not around the storm, not when the storm ends, not from a distance. He comes to them in the middle of it. And the detail Mark includes is fascinating. It says Jesus was about to pass by them, not because he didn't care, but because he wanted them to see his glory, to recognize that the God who split the Red Sea, the God who revealed his presence to Moses, the God who commands creation, is the same God walking toward them. But the disciples, terrified and exhausted, don't recognize him. They think he's a ghost, a sign of doom. Their fear interprets Jesus' presence as a threat. This is what fear does. It distorts our vision. It misreads God's intentions. It makes miracles look like danger. They cry out in fear, but Jesus immediately speaks. Take note, his voice comes before the wind stops. Take courage, it is I, do not be afraid. He doesn't tell them fear is irrational. He doesn't blame them for struggling. He reveals himself, because the cure for fear is not control, it's Christ. Then Jesus climbs into the boat, and the wind stops. The storm that defied all their strength obeyed his presence instantly. But Mark adds a surprising conclusion. They were completely amazed, for they had not understood about the loaves. Their hearts were hardened. The disciples had just watched Jesus multiply food for thousands, yet hours later, they acted as though he were powerless. How quickly we forget God's faithfulness when a new storm arrives. Let's pause and let this truth sink in. The disciples saw the miracle of provision, but they hadn't yet learned to trust him in the storm. Provision builds faith. Storms test faith, but both reveal who Jesus is. So what does this miracle teach us today? First, Jesus sometimes sends us into storms on purpose, not to drown us, but to grow us. The storm becomes the classroom where faith becomes alive. Second, Jesus is praying for us when we can't see him. While the disciples wrestled with waves, Jesus was interceding on the mountain. He does the same for us today. He lives to intercede for his children. Third, Jesus comes to us in the storm, not just after it. He doesn't wait until the sea is calm. His presence transforms fear into courage. Fourth, fear misinterprets God's presence. When panic rises, we can mistake Jesus for the enemy, but his words bring clarity. It is I. Do not be afraid. Fifth, the miracle happens when Jesus gets in the boat. As soon as he enters, peace arrives. Not because the storm disappears first, but because Jesus does. Sixth, storms reveal our hearts. The disciples forgot the miracle of the loaves. We too forget how many times God has rescued us. Storms expose the gap between what we've seen and what we believe. Seventh, Jesus uses storms to deepen trust. He is not only the God who provides bread on land, He is the God who controls oceans at night. Let's bring this into your life today. Maybe you feel like the disciples did. You're rowing hard, you're fighting waves, you're exhausted, and it feels like Jesus is not in the boat. But He sees you, He's walking toward you, even if you don't recognize Him yet. He is speaking into your fear. Take courage, it is I. Maybe your storm is financial stress, family conflict, depression, loneliness, sickness, uncertainty about your future, and the wind is against you. But storms do not stop Jesus. He walks where we sink. He stands where we struggle. He claims victory where fear screams defeat. Maybe your prayer should shift from, Lord, stop this storm, to Lord, step into my boat. Because when Jesus is near, peace is possible even before calm is visible. If you're asking, why is this happening? Jesus is saying, because I'm teaching you who I am. The disciples began that night knowing Jesus as a great teacher and miracle worker. They ended the night knowing Him as the Lord over the sea. Storms are not the evidence of God's absence. They are often the stage for His most unforgettable work. Let this truth anchor your heart. The waves that scare you are the path Jesus is walking on to get to you. So today, if the wind is against you, if you feel stuck, if you're tired of rowing alone, look again. Listen again. Jesus is closer than you think. He is stepping into your fear. He is entering your situation. He is calming your storm, not with explanation, but with presence. One day you will look back and say, that storm was where my faith grew. That moment was where I learned who He really is. Hold on, keep rowing, keep trusting. Jesus is on the way. Thank you so much for watching this video. If this message encouraged your heart, please like the video, share it with someone facing their own storm, and make sure to follow and subscribe to Holy Path Insights for more faith-strengthening Bible teachings. May the Prince of Peace step into your boat and calm every storm you are facing. God bless you.